What's up YouTube? My name's Quickie, welcome back to the channel. Look what I've got there. This is from the Dark Lord Fuzzy Butt himself. This is basically, he came down. Alistair, is it? I'm sure his name was Alistair. He came down a little while ago and we was like shooting the breeze and having a yap and stuff. He wasn't here that long really. But one of the things that we're talking about with the exhaust is I've got that little can off Wish up there, which was originally on ASBO, and I wanted to try my exhaust against that one to see what it was going to be like. But I wouldn't put that one on the bike if I had to go that route. This is the sort of thing that I was thinking about. So it's like one of them MotoGP style canonical exhausts. Haven't heard that in a while. But I do quite like the look of it. And if you stick it on the bike, it looks quite good because it looks quite similar to that. If you look at my can, the baffling is from what, there to there, I suppose. That straight bit, that's where it is. And if you compare that to this, well, there's not as much baffling in here as there is in mine. The hole is the hole that goes through the middle, like the core of it. I mean, there is bugger. If you look in here, well, I'm not sure you can see. I'll try and get a picture. But basically, the perforated tube comes up and it joins this outer tube, and then as obviously this gets bigger, that's where the baffling. There is bugger all in here. There is a DB killer, like this insert thing, which ends about there, I would say, there to there. So that does restrict that centre tube, and the centre tube is thinner than mine, but I've got more baffling. I've got more wadding in there, I'm sure I have. So this being shorter but a smaller hole is going to restrict it a little bit more, which could be a good thing. However, I've got more baffling, so you would think that that would, you know, cut the noise out, but I don't know. We're going to build both of them, and we're going to have a go with both of them. As far as tube sizes and stuff goes, no, you go in that one. Yeah, so that's that. This is the same diameter as the rest of it. Right, so that is the same as this. So it would just mean having a collar on the collector and the link pipe, which I will probably weld to. We've got helicopters now. It's not men in vans, bloody helicopters. Yeah, so it would just mean having a collar underneath where the collector is. That's where it would clamp up, and then link pipe and end cam would all just be one. And I could keep this really close to the foot peg. So I think we're going to be in it. It looked dead neat and tidy. Thank you ever so much, Alistair. That really is cool of you. That's kind of suddenly a few ideas. You get the thing in your hand and you can hold it up and see it and blah, 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 blah. Think, oh yeah, that could work. It could. Right. Okay, what am I doing? Well, I need to notch out the frame. I need to weld up my top shock mount. And I need my fab table back, but it's covered. Right, I'm going to do that. We'll do that first. Right, this is my fabrication table, covered in stuff, above and below, as you can see, and I need it. That needs to go. Maybe I'll just stick that up there out the way. Shall I do that? Yeah, let's do that. a little upgrade for the shop. It's going to be dead handy actually. I'll be using it for all sorts of stuff. So, you know, like getting the bearings out the crankcases, or curing paint that I do, or quite a few people have gone on about having to go at powder coating. And I might well do, but I do have a Jack who's just next door and he's properly set up for it. So, I don't know, we'll have to wait on that one. Right, so a simple job to start off with, but it gives me back my fabrication table, because at the weekend I really want to get stuck into, well, I've got the frame to notch out and I've got the exhaust to have a look at. Frame, don't really need the table so much. Exhaust, I definitely do, so at least it's clear again. Anyway, it is, oh bugger. Right, it's 5 to 1, I'm a little bit late. And I need to chip off and get to my work, and I might have some really good news, like really good news, but you have to wait and see. I'll be back. We're back. It's now Saturday. Jamie's back in the house, googling stuff to do with the thing to get the lathe going again. Hopefully it's not going to be too long we get it going, but we shall see. We have plugged it in. There hasn't been a big bang, so that's a definite improvement on last time. But we're not out of the woods yet, I don't think. I am making John Allen something, but I'm just having like a week of just getting jobs and stuff out of the way at the minute. So basically I'm just making some of these little plastic inserts. It all needs cleaning up and everything else. I'm going to make 2 of them. It's just a fork spring compressor. I've just got to get this the right size. So he goes in there. And he don't want much off, but he does want something. Right. Right, we is in. We're definitely making progress. Not quite how we thought we was going to do it, but it's definitely good. So the problem that we was having with the lathe before was that I couldn't take a very deep cut on anything, even alley, because if you did, the whole thing would just slow down. It just didn't have the torque, you know, behind the motor to actually make the cut and keep it consistent. So I was getting different finishes and all that sort of stuff. However, now we have had it running. You'll see in a minute, because we will show you. Now I can do actually really quite a deep cut on certain speeds, and it just cuts through and the finish is lovely. It doesn't slow down or any of that stuff, so that's a win. I've also got a reverse gear, which is cool. I've also got, I can use the back gear on the lathe and slow it right down, which means I can now have a go at single point thread cutting. That's all dead good. The only funny thing that we've got, oh yeah, I've got reverse and all that as well. The only funny thing is though, the top 2 speeds, what's it supposed to go up to, 1400? Yeah, 1400 RPM, and the next one down, whatever that is. If I put the belt on that pulley, the motor doesn't even come up to the same speed it does on the lower gear. It's almost like, the only way I can really describe it is that you're trying to set off on your bike in 4th gear instead of 1st gear, and it's like you haven't got the oomph to kind of get it going at any decent rate, and it never really gets going. I don't know what it could be. It's like frequency modulated thing, so as it gets a load on it, the motor digs in and it tries a bit harder to keep the speed at the same rate. But it's just not even getting up there, and I don't really know why. So, if there's any machinists out there and you've got this sort of thing and you've done something similar, maybe you could, you know, drop a comment, just let us know if you've got any ideas as to what it could be. The only thing that is changing is the pulley that I'm putting the belts on. So as one pulley comes down in diameter, you know, on the top, the top pulley, the one at the bottom is getting bigger. So, you know, it's not like you are changing the gearing of the spindle by doing that, but it's, you know, there's no extra strains or stresses, and there's no extra gearing in the gearbox or anything else like that. It doesn't matter if the feed for the thread cutting gearbox is engaged or not. It just doesn't seem to want to come up to speed. But lathe is way better than it was. Jamie's got a little bit of, you know, wiring and all that, so just neaten stuff up and make it a bit more permanent. And then we'll give you a demo and you can see. See, I knew today was going to be a good day. Right, I'm playing. So I've got a whole new machine to learn. Right, so you all know the troubles about it not being able to do the speeds and all that sort of stuff. Originally, this machine would have been 3-phase. But when it was converted to 2-phase, there's a pulley under here. And I could only ever use the centre two sort of speeds on it, if that makes sense. And I could only ever do like a 1 mil pass. Just because it would slow down and everything else. So I've had to always go dead ginger with it and really light cuts. It just takes ages to get anything down. Now I've just done a 3 mil cut and it didn't slow down at all, which is mint. I'm getting some lovely finishes as well. As I got down to thinner diameters, the finish would start getting really bitty and horrible and nasty. And now, even with my thin tooling and stuff, I'm getting some brilliant finishes. This is mint. I've also got a reverse on it, like that, which is cool. And I've also used the back gear for the first time, because I couldn't use that before. And I can get it to run down to 40 RPM, which is sweet. So basically, I can now do single point thread cutting. Never done it before. I'm going to have to learn. I know the theory. I know how to do it. You know, that's why this is set to 30 degrees. It's just that I've never had a go. So where I come to doing the fuel tank insert on ASBO, I'm going to need to thread cut that because I've got a sneaky idea. But this is now mega. I've probably been mucking about for 2.5 hours, I suppose. I've had to get all the chips out of it so many times. But yeah, this is awesome now. This is going to be really good. Oh, what was it doing? Oh, brew. I need a brew. Right, what was I doing? That's really hot. Still. Whilst we're waiting for that to cool down, I said I might have some good news, and I do have some good news. You all know that I'm working in the model shop with Proper Work, so that's where we make all the prototype products and modify stuff and blah 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 blah. While I'm leaving there, I've been there for 2 years now, I think. Yeah, 2 years. But I'm leaving there. I've got myself another job. It came up. It's still working at the same place and everything else, but I'm going into industrial engineering as a technician. Basically, I want to be an engineer. And getting into industrial engineering is like the first step. But the job came up, and my name came up in a few conversations, and someone came to see me going, you really need to apply for this. So I had my interview on Thursday, and then the big boss, he signed it off on the Friday, and that's when I got told officially. So I don't know when I start. They haven't gotten to that bit yet. HR's sorting out everything next week. But yeah, so I'm going into industrial engineering. So we're going to be mucking about with the big presses and putting in new machines and designing jigs and making them, and you know, all that sort of stuff. It's going to be mint. It's going to be really, really good. If they do sort out anything next week, I'm not going to be around for me to tell, because I'm on holiday. We got a week off. We was going to be going to Egypt, but the kibosh got put on that, so that's not happening. So yeah, I've got a week off. There's a few days that is spoken for, and there's some stuff that me and Sam want to do, but it does mean I can come in here and I can crack on with exhausts in the frame and everything else, now that all the decks are clear and all the housekeeping's done. See? It's all good news. Right then. Well, that'll do it. Wait a minute. That'll do. I've made it all adjustable, so you can move this bracket up and down, so you can accommodate different sort of fork length. It does go from quite long to very short. You know, really short. But that'll do it, I reckon. Just measuring it up, I think you could get like a 50mm fork in there before you start getting close to rubbing. But, you know, the stuff that we're mucking about with, it's easy going to do it. So, John, it's done. I have left you the paint in. I was going to prime it, but I'm out. There's nothing left in my U-pole can. I need to get some more. So I'll get that wrapped up and sent off to him. But yeah, so it's been like a little bit of a shop upgrade. You know, getting the oven shoved in, that is going to be brilliant. If it gets too cold in here, I'm just going to turn it on and leave the door open. I might be shoving pizza in it occasionally. But mostly it's going to be for stuff like, you know, curing paint. I might have a go at some powder coat, I don't know. Heating up cases to get bearings out, all that sort of stuff. The lathe upgrade has been long overdue. We meant to do this ages ago, and you just never got around to it, basically. Some of the kit we had wasn't any good, and it did go bang. So essentially I've had to buy a motor for it and that inverter. But it seems to be working absolutely brilliantly. I'm so chuffed I've got a reverse and stuff, and I can slow it right down, because now I can have a go at single point thread cutting. I've probably spent the best part of 2.5 hours, maybe 3 hours, just mucking about today, just getting used to it again, because it's almost like a completely different machine. And a little bit of tooling never goes amiss. Tooling is always going to be expensive. It just always, some stuff I can't make, but some stuff I can, and I can save myself a bubble too. So, you know, it might not be the prettiest looking thing. It is quite strong, and it is quite chunky. And it is like as I want it. I can adjust it to do pretty much everything that I want. So this is like anything that comes out of the YouTube stuff, like the, you know, the money you get from Google for people watching it, or Patreons chipping in. This is where the money goes. This is what it gets spent on. It doesn't go in my pocket. It might buy me the odd pizza or KFC occasionally. But that's it. You know, this is where it all goes. Just so I can do better stuff in here and get a bit more adventurous with what we're trying and what we're getting up to and all that sort of stuff. And, you know, just save yourself a few quid that you don't need to spend. All that was just made out of crap I've got laying about, basically. It's amazing what you can come up with. But anyway, that's where I'm going to leave it for this one. Thank you ever so much for watching. I do hope you went and staying safe. We'll see you on the next one. Laters!